The following episode will contain spoilers. You have been warned.
You're listening to Cinema IRL, the podcast that throws you into the movie and asks the question, what would you do? Marriage now available in the Why Did We Ever Think This Was a Good Idea? Edition as married couple Amber and Scott discuss The Roses. And now, Cinema IRL.
I wish I could switch places for just one day.
What would you do?
Put yourself in my shoes.
How do we handle this?
What would you do?
Put yourself in my position.
What would you do?
Now it's your turn.
You just wanted to see this movie to get inspiration.
It's true. It's true.
No crabs in the bathtub, please.
The Roses is the film we are talking about this episode. Life seems easy for picture-perfect couple Ivy and Theo. Successful careers, a loving marriage, great kids, but beneath the facade of their supposed ideal life, a storm is brewing. As Theo's career nosedives while Ivy's own ambitions take off, a tinderbox of fierce competition and hidden resentment ignites. And this is based on the same story of The War of the Roses, which came out in 1989 with Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner. And the only thing I remember very clearly about that movie is there was a huge chandelier in a foyer that dropped, and I think they replicated that with a chandelier over the dining room table.
Yeah, just to have a throwback.
A throwback, yeah. But I don't recall, and obviously it was the same similarity of they're building a house, but there was a lot of other stuff in this movie that I don't think was in the original.
Like deep fakes and Instagram?
Yeah, and even the beginning of the movie, maybe there was kids in the first one, I don't remember. I mean, it was 36 years ago, but this wasn't meant to be a remake of that. It was the same story of a couple who is madly in love, and over time they learn to hate each other.
Yeah, I was not of age when that movie came out, so I never saw it, but I'm going to now.
You were what do you mean of age?
I was 13.
You're allowed to go to the movies at 13.
Well, it's an R-rated movie.
The original was?
I'm sure it was.
How old do you have to be to see an R-rated movie?
17.
Okay. So the main thing that starts the spiral for this couple who had a solid relationship is the guy, Theo, is an architect, and the woman, Ivy, used to be a chef, but hasn't been a chef for a long time. She's a stay-at-home mom. And Theo says they should buy this shuttered restaurant and she can start cooking for other people in a restaurant environment. It's just kind of a hobby. They're open 3 days a week and just an outlet for her to get out into the world. At the same time, he is building this amazing structure, the museum, and he has the bright idea of putting a sail on top because it's a maritime museum. Long story short, there is a storm. The building does not fare well.
That is putting it lightly.
Yeah, it basically crashes and crumbles. Yeah. So at the same time, that storm is diverting traffic to Ivy's little seaside restaurant, and a food critic is in that diverted traffic who loves her food, writes a raving review the next day. So there is, you talk about the modernization of this film.
Going to both of them going in purely opposite directions.
Yeah, and the modern take is their smartphones in this era of the Roses, and people film the reaction of Theo, the reaction of Theo's friend, of them realizing there is imminent danger to this building.
It's not coming down.
Yeah, and ultimately behind him it goes crashing down. So the video of Theo goes viral, and his career is basically over. He gets fired. He's persona non grata. No one will touch him. And Ivy's life has taken off because this food critic has loved her food, and now she's going up and he has plummeted down. And that is the beginning of the end.
That's hard to deal with, especially when you have two career-oriented people. Now, Ivy was and then was fine with taking it off the board to be a mom, but then when it came back up, so you've got two people that besides having kids, do find a lot of their self-worth in their work. And to have one going straight to the moon and one going straight to the ground.
Yeah, and that situation gets further exacerbated by the fact that Theo is kryptonite. No one wants anything to do with him in the industry. He is basically unhireable, not just because the building crashed in an epic way, but also the viral video that came from that whole situation. So Ivy says, why don't you just take some time off and let me be the breadwinner for a while? And the restaurants, I can sink all my energy into the restaurant and bring home the money, and you can take care of the kids for a while, and while you heal from this situation and recover from it. And yeah, that created some complications.
Yeah, that created a lot of complications.
And one of the ones being is that Theo he didn't phone it in. He really did it. He did dad duties, and he turned his kids into people who used to like dessert into athletes who like to run and who were very fit. And Ivy kind of didn't know her kids anymore.
Yeah, he played disciplinarian a little bit to a point where, the kids were going to like it whether they wanted to or not. And so then eventually they did actually like it.
Yeah, exactly. So what would you do if you were in Theo's shoes? From what we talked about so far with the shifting in roles and the staying at home and the epic collapse of professional endeavors.
Well, here's the thing. The first thing you need to understand, and I'm sure you do understand this already.
I don't need to understand anything.
Is that men have very fragile egos. Very fragile egos.
Yeah, you're like grown babies.
And Theo, maybe even more fragile than most. He had a lot of his self-worth tied up. So when he gets to the point of doing the kids, he's used to throwing himself into whatever it is, like completely. So as you pointed out, he threw himself into this completely. And if I'm Theo, I'm probably doing the same thing. Like, you've got to, like, at least it wasn't like a complete thing where it was like he's just slacking off eating bonbons and stuff. No, he's...
Oh, yeah, it was an anti-bonbon environment.
Very, very anti-bonbon. So, no, he did. I think he did what... probably not the athletics, because I'm not the most athletic guy in the world. But find something in there and throw yourself into it. And find the way to make the mark on your world. And sometimes making that mark is through your kids.
Yeah, which is actually kind of dangerous because...
It's very dangerous.
Yeah, you do not want your identity to be through your children. That's a lot of pressure to put on your children. And you also can potentially deny them of who they would have been if you had not been so adamant about who they have to be.
Yeah, and Ivy obviously became very bitter because, as a parent, you generally expect around 17 or 18 or so, your kid's going to fly the coop, go to college or whatever. And instead of that, they flew the coop basically at 13.
Yeah, to a camp for high performance athletes.
Yeah, basically, like this huge high performance thing on the opposite side of the country.
Yeah.
So,
well,
but that certainly was a massive point of bitterness for Ivy.
Indeed. So the situation deteriorated over time with just little barbs and whatnot until it finally escalated into, I don't know, mild attempted murder.
No, there was multiple gunshots fired. That's not mild attempted murder.
I'm not even talking about the gun. I'm talking about Ivy's allergy to raspberries and Theo sneaking in raspberries into something he intentionally gave her and she ate. And then he basically said, I'll give you an EpiPen if you sign the divorce papers and give me the house. Like that. Wow.
Okay. Here's the problem, unfortunately. Prior to this situation had massively escalated. When you start doing things like canceling all the orders for food for the restaurant, or sending out a deep fake video to all of somebody's clients that
has them using a
smoke-
crack pipe.
smoking crack. Like,
Oh yeah, they were dirty.
I mean, that
is brutal, but intentionally giving somebody something that can kill them, yikes.
I mean, that step, sadly, I don't think was much farther above what they had done there. I mean, they're literally trying to ruin their lives, absolutely ruin them. And if your life is ruined and the only thing you have left really is your life, then, you know, taking that's not a lot more. Now, he had the EpiPen. He knew what was going on. He had the life-saving thing. Whether or not he truly would have let her die from that, I don't know. That said, God, I could never fathom letting my relationship degrade to that point.
Learn to walk away, people.
Yeah, I've had some that ended better than others, but I mean, never 1% of where that got. That was horrible.
Yeah, and I think the reason that the original premise of this film, the original version, is the War of the Roses, because it is an all-out, brutal, no-holds-barred war.
Yeah, I mean, he designed and built the house. She paid for it. Now, a big effing asterisk on that.
That's actually a good what would you do? One, Theo designed and built this dream house on the ocean, but Ivy is the one that funded all of his opulent ideas, and the fact that even down to moss on the roof, that it couldn't just be regular moss, that he had to import moss. Was it from Ireland or England or something?
Yeah.
That had to be imported moss. So like the expenses that kept adding up for him to build this testament to his architectural ability.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what would you do if you were any sort of person, whether it's a judge or a family friend or whatever? What would you do in thinking who really gets that house?
Okay, well, that was an extremely opulent house on the beach in San Francisco. That is bare minimum 8 to 9 million and maybe more. So it's not a small asset. The truth of the matter is in the end, nobody's going to get the house, because neither one of them, I believe, would have the resources to buy the other one out from their half. So the sale would be ordered and the proceeds would be split. And that's the thing to remember, especially about California and some other states where this is it's a no-fault divorce thing. And generally stuff just goes right down the middle. I mean, unless there is a spousal or child support situation, stuff goes right down the middle. So they would sell the house and each get half of the proceeds. And that's where I thought it was funny talking about debating all of this. Like, walk away, we'll give you $100,000. Hell no. I mean, I don't know what her business is worth, but clearly it was something. Yeah. So, I mean, call the business maybe equal to what the house is, maybe ish. So 16, 17 million versus 100,000. No,
well, I mean, it's the first meeting of lawyers, so of course, no, it's going to be reasonable.
Yeah, but I mean, you got to remember, more than likely,
I don't have to remember anything.
They probably didn't have a lot of actual capital back. They sunk it all into this and or the business. So, like, this is where the money is. I can understand fighting over it, but I mean, the truth of the matter is in real life, it would just get sold, and you move on from there. But that's the other thing too. Like, he is owed half of everything, 100%. Based again on our laws. When you create something as a married couple, that is both of yours. Even if only one of you was the one actually doing it, they see marriage as a partnership. And in many ways, it actually is. Very much so, because
Well, it can be, and it may not be. It really depends on the dynamic of the couple and how much support someone actually got when they were trying to build something. Some people don't, they might be married, but that partner didn't necessarily encourage them or root them on or take on extra duties for them to be able to build that business. So it's really dependent on the situation and the people involved.
I mean, there's usually some form of support from the
Maybe,
spouse.
maybe
I
not.
mean, varying degrees, but I mean, that's the way that the law will look at it, 100%. So, I mean, I just, like that whole scene with the lawyers going back and forth, I just would have been like, we're in California. It's a 50-50 split. We'll sell the house.
Well, I don't know how compelling that is
But
for a movie.
Now that said, let me tell you, there are times when inequity would make sense in this. If I'm giving an example from my own first divorce here. There were two.
Yes, first divorce.
Yeah, hopefully I don't have a second, but so there were, sadly, probably the biggest thing we fought over were the South Park DVDs. Like, not even kidding. Mostly didn't care, but there were two things. We had sold a business, and we actually had monthly income coming in from the sale of that business. And my wife had started a bit of a retirement fund through the work that she had moved to. We worked together on the business, and then the last couple of years or so, she shifted over to a job. And she was a little bit older than me. And we kind of looked at the whole thing. Like, her retirement was notable. Like, she actually had a pretty good amount set back for retirement. It was definitely going to be more money than what was coming in from the sale of the business. I said, well, I kind of need money now, and I'll have time to build that back up, like go retirement and deal with that, where she was a number of years ahead of me. So it made sense for her to have the retirement, and I got all of the income from the sale. It was, her thing was worth over double what mine was, but it let me keep going now where she didn't need that money. She had her own income. So inequity sometimes makes sense, but when you're fighting tooth and nail over something, you're just going to chop it.
So another interesting what would you do that I think we can look at here is Ivy and Theo had a couple friends that were beautifully portrayed by Andy Samberg and, oh gosh, Kate McKinnon, who was creepy.
She was hilariously creepy in this movie.
Yeah, I bet she had a blast with this.
With this
thing.
But they're actors. How do we know?
That's a good point. That's a good point.
There's a throwback.
I also said I bet. You said in that episode, Freaky Friday, you could tell they had a good time filming this.
Yeah.
I am not making a declaration.
No,
I said I bet she had a good time.
I will. You can tell Kate McKinnon had a good time filming that.
So she hits on Theo a couple of times.
No. Is that what you thought?
Yeah.
The whole rubbing up against and
the mouth
and
thing.
whispering "I'll fuck you" and like all of that. You think that was hidden?
There goes our G rating. Yeah. What would you do if your couple's friends, the wife hit on you, or the guy, either one?
I mean, okay. So for one, she said that they were open. He said we're still discussing.
Yeah.
I mean, for one, if both of y'all are in a closed marriage, no, absolutely freaking not. If one of you is in an open marriage and the other one's not, and like if I'm in the closed marriage and I'm actually interested in that situation and my relationship with my wife is going super south, super fast, I might consider having a conversation with my wife about opening the marriage.
Okay, but we're talking about the context of the film.
Well, yeah, I mean...
So Ivy and Theo were not in an open marriage.
No, they were not. And also, Theo appeared to have no desire to fornicate with her. So that's kind of irrelevant. But assuming he did, the only acceptable thing to do would be to go to your own wife in the closed marriage and say, hey, we're not exactly happy with each other. Do you want to consider opening up the marriage and seeing where that goes? Which, knowing that probably is basically the beginning of the end. What you don't do is cheat. You don't cheat. And if the decision is no on the open, and it must be unanimous for sure, if it's a no, then you don't.
One thing that I think is noteworthy in this film is they had kids. And when they ultimately decided to get divorced, the kids were like, bravo, yay, you guys have been miserable for 10 years. Congratulations.
And if you're that miserable that your kids, they said for 10 years and the kids were like 13, 14.
Yeah.
Like, that's a lot of misery that is clearly visible.
Yeah, and that's such a common dynamic is people say we're staying together for the kids. We'll stay together until the kids go off to college. We'll stay together until whatever landmark it is, but we're staying together for the kids. Sometimes
that is stupid.
You are doing more damage to the kids staying together when they see those snide remarks and they see the disrespect and they see the conflict and they're living in a home where two people do not like each other. I don't want to be judgy here, but if you think that's good for your kids you're doing it for the kids, you are actually creating dynamics with them that they will take into their future relationships with other people because that is what they were exposed to as kids.
Yeah, no. If you know your marriage is over, now, in fairness, they didn't seem to come to that conclusion earlier, probably because they're both Brits and very dry humor. So some things that might have seemed outwardly like contempt, they very well could have seen as humor, and many times did, like the top 10 list with the therapist. Like she called him well, I'll see you next Tuesday, and he laughed. He thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
So it's not like they said we're going to stay together for the kids, but.
No, absolutely not. They were both living separate lives at that point, which made it easy to condone the condition of their marriage. She was busy not only with that restaurant, but then had multiple restaurants opening all over the place. So she was busy with that. And he was turning the kids into little Olympians. So, they all had their own things going. And when it kind of made it easier, I think, to avoid making a significant decision in their relationship.
Yeah, and that's two people growing apart. And the truth of the matter is that's just kind of when you get lazy a little bit. I mean, this was definitely a stark reminder and portrayal for me of two people who were very madly in love at first, and watching the progress of it going down, 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 and the various things and most of the time when they both just stopped and gave each other attention, like no matter how bad it was, like even if one of you had been shooting at the other one, like that communication, that attention can make everything maybe not completely better, but at least better in the moment and raise the overall happiness in a relationship. Like you can never, ever get complacent in a relationship or in a marriage or whatever. Like if you do, it'll die. It'll die. And you have to both want it.
Yeah, anything worth having takes work to maintain. You can get something, but regardless of what it is, whether it's a fit body or a successful business or a good relationship, it takes maintenance.
Oh, yeah, 100%. So I think a lot of people get divorced because they allow their situation to overcome them, and they can no longer see the side of the other person that they fell in love with, where if both sides would just stop and say, we need to focus on each other a little bit here, I think you'd find a lot of marriages headed for divorce pull out of it. Not all of them. Sometimes you just make really bad decisions. But yeah, it's so important to not be living completely separate lives from your significant other. I mean, sometimes things are going to happen that for stretches, one of them might just be all consumed in on something, but you have to not make that a true way of life and recognize when you have the breaks, and then give a lot of attention in when there's breaks, and hopefully break out of whatever it is.
I'm sorry. It seems weird that I'm laughing. For anyone listening, that seems very out of context. I was going to let that be Scott's final say, but he was actively shaking his head.
I'm not ending on that. That was very un-Scott-like. Like, I didn't say anything smart-ass. I was actually just like being like from the heart. And
Heaven forbid we end on that.
I can't possibly end on that. So
everyone was checking their devices, thinking that their battery died or somehow the episode was over. But apparently it's not. We're still going. So yeah, don't let contempt and bitterness and frustration brew.
And you know what else you don't do?
What?
Don't get drunk if you're the party host. Like, don't get drunk if you're the party host. It's just horrible. Sometimes you end up throwing cake at people. Because
okay, well, that's very specific.
Well,
I mean,
yes,
from the movie, okay, but I mean, for our listeners, I don't know how many people are going to get drunk and throw cake.
I mean, control your alcohol somewhat. I mean, there are times
it's your party. You can do whatever the heck you want.
Yeah, but when you're the host,
if you're the host, you can get sloshed. Whatever.
I'm not saying not to drink. Just keep enough of your faculties so that you don't.
Who are you to tell other people not to drink at their own party?
Well, and if you think about it, I mean, several of the big issues between them was when one or the other of them just got plastered.
That actually is true. There were several points where each one of them did drink too much and got into trouble. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, I'm not anti-alcohol by any stretch, but be smart with it and don't put yourself in positions, because you're going to lose your inhibitions when you're drunk, and when you're drunk out with your significant other, like it or not, that is a reflection on them.
Okay, that's another from the heart thing, though.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to end this episode. It's been going on for a really long time. So can you just make a smart-ass crack so we can end?
I'm sure I can. Yeah, don't point guns at your spouse. Just
wait. That's the smart aleck thing.
Or break Julia Child's stove. Never break Julia Child's stove.
We hope you enjoyed our episode. Thank you for listening. And to catch all the new episodes, please subscribe. We release 2 to 3 episodes weekly, so we'll have new content regularly. Until next time.